Willie D Live.
What's up, family? More murder in Memphis. We got a Memphis mother named Nika Brown, whose 21-year-old son, Darrion Brown, was murdered. Family, boy, they unloaded so many rounds on dude, I stopped counting after about 15. And check this out. His boys was right there. It was several of them who walked out of a rental property right behind him. Just before shots were fired, they took off running back into the house, leading some to believe that Darrion got backdoored. Yeah, fam. And check this out. His buddies had sticks on them and everything. I'm talking about them heaters, burners. Yeah. And they just turned around and took off running. Yeah. Anyway, fam, Nika said she had been sitting on the footage for 45 days, waiting on some type of news of an arrest, and she finally released the footage. What I'm trying to understand is your son got murdered. Why hold on to the footage for 45 days? Because she was saying that she wanted somebody to come forward. She was waiting on the friends to come forward and say something, but they wouldn't. Nobody would come forward, and she said if the shoe was on the other foot, Darrion would come forward for y'all. But none of the kids have come forward. And we're talking about a house full of kids at a rental property, and none of them will ID anybody who was at the house. Now, there's a couple of people who were seen on the camera. You can see their faces clear as day, but they wouldn't identify anybody. Sound like real friends to you? Homie, don't think so. And that's the part I don't get. Time and time again, we see these so-called friends who will be on the scene when something bad happens to one of their friends. Sometimes death happens, and they're right there, and they'll take off. They'll leave the hotel room, they'll leave the party, they'll leave out of the car and never turn back. Won't even call 911, won't render aid, won't do nothing. But that's their friend. Youngsters, I'm telling you, you better listen to mama, you better listen to daddy when they tell you you ain't got no friends. Zero said it best, ain't no such thing as friends, only associates. Yeah, man. Because when the rubber hit the road, they gone, man. They're gone. Earlier I said the mother had been holding on to that video footage for 45 days. It was actually 54 days she had been holding on to the home video footage of the murder. So she couldn't really see, well, no one could see who was actually doing the shooting because it was dark, but you could see that fire. You could see that fire. And you could hear the screaming, and you could hear the sound of a bunch of people running in the opposite direction. A bunch of people with guns running. See, that's how it go. When you got those guns and you got the ups, okay, you got the ups. But when somebody else start firing off time and time again, you see the people with the guns who are supposed to be tough take off running, hide. Police do it too. Yeah, I've seen them do it a whole lot of times. The police, a lot of them, they're bad as long as there's no resistance. They're bad as long as nobody else have a gun. Boy, somebody else pull that thing out, they duck it, they trying to get the hell out the way. As they should. Except for the Billy badass ones, the ones that try to act really, really bad, real tough. They be the first ones ducking, running. Yeah. It's cold-blooded, fam, because the youngster got his head knocked off. The mama is crying. But the word on the streets is the youngster was out there cutting up. They say he was out there robbing folks and backdooring folks. Yeah. They say he was cutting up. So there are several people out there online who saying we ain't got no sympathy for you whatsoever, mama, because you knew what type of son you had. Then there's other people who are saying, well, she didn't really know who her son was. And that might be the case because there are mothers out there and fathers out there who really don't know that their child is living a double life. They only know that child that they know. They don't know sometimes that they got real killers living under their roof. I'm talking about that. They don't know that. Imagine that. Not knowing your child has caught a body or two or three or four or five. Not knowing that your child is one of the most feared people in the streets because he moving this and that and he can push a button and make things happen. He can direct something and next thing you know, somebody ain't here. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.